Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. Well, actually, Hawaii, but I'll tell you about that in the fluff. I want to talk about what's going on. On Thursday, we saw further falling of the Dow Jones and other major indexes, Microsoft, Tesla, Apple. It's a relentless sell off. And right now, the Japan market, the Nikkei, is taking a big hit. It's down more than 3% in the last 2 hours. So the point of this video is to have an overview of what has been said, reported, and actually done thus far regarding XRP and how it could be a major player and provide a role should we have a new liquidity crisis. This is what happens in a time of crisis because funding requirements for financial institutions increase. And because the collateral value of assets on borrowers' balance sheets erode, then investors are unable to roll over their short-term liabilities and financial institutions pull back and gridlock happens. This is when money doesn't move. So in October 2018, we have this article that was written with Chris Larsen, the co-founder of Ripple, quoted that the digital asset like XRP could play a major role in strengthening the global economy, helping to avert the next financial crisis. Let me just read you the quote in full. 10 years out from the financial crisis, we still don't have the infrastructure, perhaps, to prevent the next one. And I think this is where digital assets can really help because an efficient digital asset can really solve some of the key problems in global liquidity. The world's got trillions and trillions of dollars tied up in liquidity just to get around how the clunky movement of value is around the world. So with a really efficient digital asset, something like XRP, and that's what, of course, Ripple believes they have, will be the most efficient. And you can now reduce trillions and trillions in capital from being tied up. So you can make those transfers instantly as a bank or as a payment provider or enterprise without having to have money pre-positioned, pre-funded is what he's talking about, all over the world. So banks are going to look under every rock, trust me, to reduce operational costs, which we know exists in these cross-border remittances. And this space with that money, trillions tied up, parked in banking partners around the globe, it's not uncommon for a bank to have 200 correspondent banking partners. So in those banking partners, you might have 100 different relationships that are in different corridors. All right. So you have really just tied up capital that doesn't have to be tied up when you use XRP. XRP becomes an on-demand liquidity pool for those transaction parties. And since Ripple can slash banks' global settlement, as we see in this article by Finextra, it is all done by ditching that Nostro account for the one consolidated, the big pile of XRP. Banks can allocate less total liquidity to service those international payments. And it's hard to ignore Ripple when the White House, the World Bank, the Federal Reserve, the IMF, and the central banks are all involved. And this is not a crazy pipe dream. Ripple has relationships, or I should say, open, regular communication with these entities. So they have that capability. And XRP continues to prove itself. In the last 24 hours, a new money sender, Azimo, was announced, and it is going to use XRP for the Philippine corridor. This is a major corridor, $33 billion In 2019, that was 3.9% higher than the previous year. And when a corridor gets multiple users utilizing XRP, like we see in the Mexican corridor right now, that corridor gets very liquid. And the more liquid, the more banks and financial institutions want to tap into that. Even CoinDesk wrote a glowing article. Let me tell you, that is rare. And 4 hours ago, Ripple dropped another video. This is episode 19 in the Ripple Drops, and Brianne Madigan explains the key aspects to liquidity and how it fits into Ripple's business model. This digital asset XRP is the B2B solution, and it's proven itself. And don't ever forget that it also delivers value, more cash in the pocket down to the everyday consumer as well. And I am really, that is really an important aspect. It's not just about banks saving money. This is, I was in a bus waiting for the bus today because I took from the airport. I decided to take the city bus to my hotel because I'm in no hurry and I wanted to just kind of see. I didn't know that Honolulu has a Chinatown. I didn't know it. The bus goes right through Chinatown. Anyway, that's a kind of a nice $2.75 tour of Honolulu when you take the bus. Anyway, I sat and talked. We had about a half an hour to wait, and I sat and talked to a gentleman who was from the Philippines. He just moved here from Indiana. And we were talking about, the differences between Indiana and Hawaii. And I asked him, I said, what are you using to send your money back home? Because he still has lots of family back home. He's here in Honolulu with his wife and 3 kids. 2 of them in high school, no, 4 kids, 3 of them in high school and 1 in junior high. And he still owns a home back in the Philippines, and he uses MoneyGram. And he says that, they can just go and pick up the cash I didn't ask him too many personal questions, so I don't know exactly from what location he was from in the Philippines. But anyway, I was talking payments with him, and we talked about how over the course of a few years, 5 years, he told me that the cost of remittances has gone down and that there's more money in his pocket. And, this is the kind of real life benefit and value that should not be overlooked. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked here. So when I want to get back on track with this video, is it coincidental that Ripple is so focused on XRP? Remember, I don't believe in coincidences. And Brianne is the VP of Institutional Markets at Ripple. I'm going to put a link to it in the comments section or the description below. It's good. It has David. It also has the CEO of Beard, and that's the new wallet that has added XRP. And then in between, sandwiched in the middle, is Brianne. And she has a superb ability to be able to explain liquidity. So I'm going to leave it to her and you can watch this video. So, okay, let's just jump to the fluff really quick because I need to go. I don't have a lot of time. I'm in Hawaii right now, and this was a planned long layover. And my fluff is to tell you how to save money when you travel to and from Japan. So if you can use multiple carriers. In this particular trip, I'm using Hawaiian Airlines, American Airlines, and ANA, which is all Nippon Air. It's one of the flagship airlines out of Japan. I'm using all 3 to get to and from Japan to the US and then back to Japan again. When you can book on your own, and you can wait up to about 4 to 6 weeks before your desired departure time, you can often find significantly discounted legs that'll put you right here in Honolulu, Hawaii for 14, 16, 18 hours. And then you think to yourself, well, this is the cost of the hotel, and that's not that cheap, it offsets the savings. Actually, it doesn't. If you don't know, there are lots of hotels around the world, and Waikiki happens to have many, that you can do day use rooms. And it's like 75% off the rates that you pay if I was to spend the night. So today I checked in at 9 a.m. and I'm going to leave at 5 p.m. And it's just for a tiny bit of money to get off a flight, take a warm bath, take a nap, relax. Yeah, I've been to Hawaii many times. I don't need, I'm going to go out to dinner. I'm going to have a super dinner. I'm really looking forward to it. But it's not where I'm going to go to the beach. I don't need to do that. I break up my travel too. Instead of sitting on a plane for 12 hours, I can cut it in half on both ways. It's much more manageable, much more enjoyable. And I'm just telling you, this is the way to do it. I have made this trip, I don't even want to count how many times, because that just has dollar signs going up in my brain. But I have done everything from going into Vancouver, Canada, to see if I can reduce the time there and what that is like, to doing the round trips to LA, of course, because they occur quite often, and sometimes you can get really good rates. But this is significantly cheaper if you don't mind the layover, even with the cost of the day use hotel. I am hundreds of dollars ahead. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that fluff. I gotta go though. I have to check out, and I have to go to dinner, and then I'm going to get back on my plane and get to my final destination. Okay, everybody, do take care. These are very difficult times. Sayonara for now. Bye bye.